What we learned during the campaign was that very serious computer science experts, people who work closely with the United States government, had uncovered this secret hotline between the Alpha Bank, the Russian bank, and the Trump organization. Now, of course, we didn't know for sure if, in fact, that were the case, but we knew that it should be investigated. And we knew that, given how serious these computer scientists were, they weren't just making up crackpot theories.
No, they weren't making up crackpot theories because they're on the payroll of Hillary Clinton. And this guy, Jaffe, who was a head of a computer company, tech company, used his government contracts via the internet to get into, and this is the amazing part, Trump's offices in Trump Tower, one of Trump's residential buildings that he didn't live in, and finally the White House. And Jake Sullivan was one of the people peddling this story, which turned out to be completely wrong. And he knew. I believe he knew. Okay? He'll have to prove that he didn't know. And right now, Sullivan is right in the crucible of the Putin-Ukraine business, and Sullivan, as National Security Advisor, was in the crucible of the Afghanistan withdrawal catastrophe. And this guy was like an advance man for Hillary, pushing this crap. There's got to be justice someplace. We have Liz Peek, columnist for The Hill, Fox News contributor, and Joe Concha, media columnist for The Hill, and also a Fox News contributor. Liz, I'll give you a whack at it first. It infuriates me. I mean, it just infuriates me. He's on that show lying through his teeth. He knew exactly what was going on. But that was the first one. There's a second episode that was just uncovered by Durham.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to resign, or he needs to be fired. I don't think Joe Biden has whatever it takes to actually start firing people from the White House. Jake Sullivan needs to resign. I agree with you 100%. He knew what he was doing. I imagine that there are a great many people on the supply chain of misinformation here who are very well aware that this information was bogus and it was delivered via or gleaned from illegal activities. There needs to be a criminal investigation into this, Larry. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in terms of spying on a sitting president in the White House, tapping into, in effect, his communications. I think most of us are speechless. The really horrifying thing is, and I'm sure Joe will talk about this, I don't think this is being covered by the liberal media. I don't know that the ABC, CBS, all these various outlets are actually even covering this story. So it's a little bit of tree falls in the forest. I mean, we're going to make a lot of noise about this, but it's like Hunter Biden's laptop. It may not even be heard by most Americans, which will be really appalling.
Is there anybody else covering it besides this network?
No.
Yeah.
If we're talking broadcast news?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say that Donald Trump had spied on Joe Biden's campaign. Right? 24/7 News, you would have to literally expand the day to 27, 28 hours just to fit in that wall to wall. But I want to know what the intelligence community knew here at that time. Because I look at who was running the major intel groups at the time. All right, John Brennan, all right, CIA, right? Where is he now? MSNBC. What's his job? Tell you how horrible Donald Trump is. James Clapper, head of DNI. Where is he? CNN. Andrew McCabe, who got fired from the FBI for lying about leaking to the press, he's at CNN, all getting paid very comfortably. James Comey got not one but two book deals and a Showtime documentary, and he was running the FBI. And they were supposed to be apolitical at the time, and now you see them as they're more partisan than the Rachel Maddows and Don Lemons that you watch on television. So we're supposed to believe that they didn't know anything about this? Come on, Larry.
That's such an important point. Look, take a Rachel Maddow, okay? I've met her once or twice when I was over on NBC, CNBC. She's a smart lady. She's a lefty, big lefty. I get that. But that's her profession, okay? I'm a right-of-center guy. People probably say the same thing about me. That's different than the head of the FBI and the head of the CIA and the director of national intelligence. Yeah. That's different, okay? You don't hear Robert Gates going around with that stuff, right? Former defense secretary under two administrations, or Leon Panetta, to take a Democrat, okay? These are people that are smart, they're diplomatic, and they understand keeping secrets. These other people took this crap and ran with it, and still are running with it.
And we hear all the time about attacks on our democracy, how our democracy is under attack by this Republican effort or that one. This is an attack on our democracy. When you have the law enforcement agencies and our intelligence agencies in on something, and apparently they were, meant to undermine a sitting president, Larry, I think we are all flabbergasted by this. This began, by the way, before Trump was even elected. I mean, so these people were involved in sort of nefarious operations under Obama. So the question is, what did Obama know? Who in the Obama administration? Susan Rice, is she someone I think Republicans are talking about investigations under oath of a lot of people having to do with this. I hope so. I'm worried that, like Ron Johnson said, that there's going to be sort of, it's going to be old news at some point, and there won't be any appetite for pursuing it. It must be pursued.
We got Joe Concha. He'll never let it slip.
Well, I hope
He's
not.
our top guy. He takes on 5 or 6 of these on the other networks. But I do want to just read. James Freeman wrote a terrific column. He writes best of the web for the Wall Street Journal. He calls this Hillary Clinton's other dossier. In other words, there was this bogus Steele dossier with all of its stuff. But this one, I'll just read it real quick. Lawyers for the Clinton campaign paid a technology company. That's this computer science that this guy was talking about.
Experts.
A technology company to infiltrate servers belonging to Trump Tower and later the White House in order to establish an inference and narrative to bring to government agencies linking Trump to Russia. Now, that's in the Durham report. And, of course, we've talked about the intel agencies that they brought it to. So this is a second one. There's this dossier, this is a new one.
Right.
And I don't think it's been flushed out. And I think this Jake National Security, whoever.
Jake Sullivan.
Sullivan, I'm sorry, I can't remember all these names. It's way too hard for me. He's going to go, but there are others, too. There are others that are going to fall.
I think there are a lot of people who are in on this. And again, I mean, the fact is, this should never have happened. It should certainly not have happened once Trump was in the White House. Steele dossier to me is dirty tricks. This is something much worse.
That's exactly right. That's why they're separate, and it's an important point.
And by the way, John Durham is not Adam Schiff doing this investigation. This is somebody who has bipartisan credibility. So you want to attack the messenger here? Roll the dice and take your chances. More things are going to drop.
The producers are going to kill me, but I just have to ask you, did you know that this was Kindness Week in Canada? Now, I know you all have been writing about the Freedom Convoy, and Trudeau is now launching World War III and developing all the... But this was Kindness Week. Did you know that?
I don't think Trudeau got the message.
He didn't get the memo. Joe, Kindness Week?
Kindness Week every week in my household, certainly.
Oh, that's something. That is
what,
something.
let me just say one thing, and I know they're going to kill me also.
Oh, they're killing all of us right now.
50,000 cases a day in Canada 1 month ago. They're now down to about 6,000 cases, right? It's almost nothing. It's like Omicron is here in New York now. It's almost non-existent, right? So why do I need a vaccine mandate on a profession where people are literally quarantined 99% of the time?
It's so stupid.
Joe,
right? Just no logic.
Stupid.
Liz.
Just drop the mandate.
And Joe, this is Kindness Week.
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
I just want you to know that. Nobody better. Joe Concha, Liz Peek.